Hey everyone, this is Koyota, and I hope you enjoyed those examples of what you can do to be like Dante in this game, essentially. Or just, whatever you want. Well, to an extent. This is still a demo, but this is battle talent, and it's freaking awesome. And yes, I did suplex that skeleton. So what we're looking at here is the sandbox mode, where you can just kind of mess around and whatnot, set up whatever enemies you want. However, it would be nice if there were an infinite durability and infinite mana, etc. So you could really just play around and, test out the guns and etc. But of what I did play with this game, I maybe a little too much fun. For the longest time, I have been wanting the closest thing I could get to a Devil May Cry virtual reality game. But this is more than my Devil May Cry fangasm dream come alive. You see, it's also a little bit of an RPG at the same time, action RPG, where you actually do get upgrades that you could, buy or even upgrade as you go through these randomized dungeons within one of the little stages that you could select. You normally start with 3 arenas, and then eventually you have the tomb that you could go through, which is full of random rooms. Your weapons are, whatever weapon you start with is randomized, whatever upgrades you find for said weapons are randomized, whatever blessings and curses you find from this little fountain thing is randomized. You can have things like absorbing MP and HP on hit, just a lot of crazy shenanigans. Things like stunning enemies more easily, or when you stab the enemy they're more likely to die instantly, etc. A lot of fun little doodads, even little just upgrade, little buff upgrades that you choose from one of 3, and etc. In fact, this game is a lot of etc. It's a lot of just a lot, but yet it's a demo. For a just for a demo, there's a lot, or there's a good amount here. I should say a good amount, not a lot. It's not like with Blade and Sorcery, where you could put all these mods and everything. It would be cool if this could see some modding potential. Give me some Devil May Cry weapons. I will go to town. I could say, one thing I would really want to see an improvement for is just being able to launch without a weapon. Being able to launch the enemy, I want to be able to Doria the enemy like Kazuya Mishima just from the ground, but you have to, do it with a weapon. It's kind of tough to do it with your hand, as opposed to be able to grab them and toss them up. That part was actually pretty good. I was surprised how the grabbing worked. It would be nice if there was a waist grabbing point, especially. That way I could do a little quick pile driver on them maybe. Because it's not like they can, you can pull them around from the torso up. They'll resist, and you can't really knock them over unless you kind of give them a chop on the neck or something. But if you grab them from the legs, they'll lose their balance. And yes, I did do a freaking giant swing like King from Tekken or Wolf Hawkfield from Virtua Fighter. Bet you don't remember that one. But there's traps in these dungeons, there's upgrades, there's, just different enemies, and it really gives a good idea of what this can be. This is literally just a 0.2 demo, or at least that's what it said on Itch.io. Actually, a moment to the screen, if you saw just before, there was a little green thing there, goblet fountain thing, that purges any of the curses that you get from these red versions. So I just went looking around like, oh, I wonder if I could find these little blessing curse upgrade things, so that way I could get all the good stuff, go back to that green one, and purge all of my curses just like that. That way I only have buffs, essentially. You get a buff and a debuff for these things, and you could get rid of it. That's how it works. And as you see here, I'm fighting this guy. The enemies will sometimes do a little red attack, and if you strike in the opposite direction of that attack, you'll throw them off guard and be able to launch them up and juggle them, etc., like what you saw there. And some of the upgrades include slowing down time. I actually forgot to use that here. I already had it at this point, and I wish I'd used it. You have an upgrade to your jump. It turns into a dash upwards, and then you could even get a dash downwards. Very good for doing a classic Helm Breaker combo from Devil May Cry. Basically, it's to launch the enemy upwards, and then to slam down with your sword. Really cool stuff. Ah, that's what it was called, the curse statue. You get a buff, you get a debuff, you find the green purge statue, and Boom. You just keep all your buffs, essentially, and you get rid of all your debuffs. And the debuffs are pretty real. I actually completely nerfed my range power, basically guns and arrows and whatnot. And during that run, when I tried to shoot an enemy like crazy, they were just taking no damage. And you mostly get some basic weapons so far, an axe, sword, great sword, blade, dagger, spear, and a mace, and then there's like a few specialized ones like the storm pistol that I like using, bow and arrow, and then there's this one called the air blade, and essentially it's like if you hold the trigger button it'll glow, and during while you're doing that, any slash will have an extended range. Right here you'll see me tossing my axe and then calling it back. That's another thing they tutorialize you right in the beginning, and it's pretty cool actually. It works really well. Especially once you stick it into an enemy's head and then just end up pulling their head back along with the axe. Now, if you're a Quest user, Quest 1 or 2, and you use Virtual Desktop, I did make input bindings for the game, but they're still not perfect. The sensitivity is insane in that if you try to jump or dash, the camera will move left or right. Unfortunately, there was nothing I could do to get it right, but if you go to Itch.io, you can download the version there via side quest, sideload it onto your Quest 2, and it works very well that way. However, I'm not the one to go to about doing mods or this or that, so I would check another video on how to do side quests, sideload, etc. And that's not really related to what I'm talking about with this video. I also want this to be short. Overall, the game ran very well though. Holy smokes. I mean, everything about this, the feel of the game. When I'm slashing enemies, you see that guy, that part of the skull just get chopped off. It feels good to play. It actually feels good. Even doing that there where I grab the enemy and then I just kind of chop him in the stomach, etc. I don't know. I like it. I like the feel. I wanted to test so many things out to see what I could get away with. Now, doing aerial raves is not like what one would do in Devil May Cry, where you're floating in the air, you're going to be falling, but the enemy will be getting juggled around or knocked around, etc. When you're on the ground, you could try to keep them in the air, and it's pretty fun too. I mean, it would also be nice if one day, imagine a style meter, being able to be rewarded for doing really stylish combos and getting more coin rewards for it. Use coins to get your upgrades, by the way. Did I mention that already? If I didn't, here it is. But otherwise, I would suggest giving this game a try. Maybe join the Discord and, post your own stuff. See what cool things you can do. Be a Kazuya Mishima, be Ryu, and do some Shoryukens on your enemy. I did try actually, doing like a jumping Shoryuken from the ground and also with the dashing upwards skill. But this is something so special that I have been waiting for the last entire year. I kept looking up on Google, Devil May Cry like VR game, Devil May Cry DMC-like, etc. I wanted this all along, honestly. And I just can't wait to see it grow. I really can't. But overall, I guess what would be really nice to see, I think I've already mentioned this in the beginning, but, in the sandbox mode, being able to have infinite mana to truly train and try a lot of crazy things, having infinite durability so that when you're using the guns, it's not just running out of ammo. And then in terms of the overall combat, there were points where I was like, okay, the enemy's strong attacks where you actually have to parry in the direction. Sometimes they're a bit too fast to react to in a few ways, where, or even sometimes I felt I did it, but the enemy didn't really react to it. I still took a hit, that kind of thing. And then of course with grabbing the enemies, if I could just grab them by the waist and goddamn pile drive them into the ground. Okay, but still. And if this opens up to modding capabilities, Blade and Sorcery is going to have a run for its money. I love that game, but this is just, I'm like, yo, this is creeping into my life because I can do the thing I've always wanted to do. There's one suggestion I am not remembering right now, and maybe I'll remember it later, so I'll leave that on the Discord. My brain just keeps thinking of Ninja Gaiden and doing an Izuna drop on the enemy. I don't know why, but regardless, the overall feel is just incredible, and I've already said what needs to be said. Hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, no, don't worry about subscribing or nothing. I don't really care. I just, I had the motivation. I was motivated.